Alright guys, I want to welcome you all back to some more of the house in Fata Morgana. So as of this video, we have finally completed the third chapter or the third era or third door story. However you want to call it guys, we completed it. We also finally learned the reasons why Maria did exactly what she did. And I leave it up to you guys to see for yourselves whether or not it's justified. I don't necessarily believe it to be, but I get where she's coming from, but it's still no excuse. So anyways guys, I hope you all continue to enjoy watching, and let's do this. Alright guys, and we are back. That day was coincidentally the deadline the two of them had set for themselves, Jacopo to confront his wife and the white-haired girl to wait for him. And as that day approached, she continued to write letters. She wrote the letters purely by force of habit, despite having been worn visibly thin. I expect that she could not stop, that the act of writing was all that kept her from going mad. By focusing her attention on another person through her letters, she was able to maintain her grip on herself. But that day would put an end to her suffering and despair. When the railroad was completed, all their misunderstandings would be cleared up. They would return to the smiling, happy couple they had been when they were first married. Okay, the maid's messing with me, isn't she? The harsh winter would finally come to a close, melting away into the past and allowing them to step into the future. With constant prayer in my heart, I impatiently awaited the railroad's opening ceremony. I do not, after all, wish for anyone to fall into any kind of misfortune. And that goes for you as well, Master. Now, Master, the door is soon to be shut upon this era. Are you prepared to see what happens next? Ah, it's gonna be depressing. It's just... Alright, yeah, I'm ready. I see. Very well. Then allow us to make our way to that final day. See with your own eyes, Master, how this tale concludes. And please, do not let go of my hand. The night before the opening ceremony, the master of the house headed for his wife's shed. There was a tension on his face, but a surety in his step. He had found the resolve to speak with her. Having locked her away for so long in the shed like a common prisoner, Jacopo was hardly optimistic about what she might say to him. He had undeniably mistreated her, said heartless and cruel things to her, and even gotten physically violent with her. His actions were inexcusable, even if they were in response to her infidelity. Of course, the very infidelity which had driven him to such behavior had not, in fact, taken place, but he was unaware of that. There was a chance they would never reconcile their misunderstandings, and that this predicament would not have a positive resolution. But he still clung to a tiny fragment of hope. He wanted to start over with the white-haired girl, to make a new future with her. With that desire burning strong in his heart, he stood before the door to her shed and called out to her. Are you awake? It's me, Jacopo. May I come in? I won't hurt you. I will not raise my hand against you again. I swear to you, I will do you no harm. I just wish to speak. I would like to have a calm, rational conversation. And as such, I will not enter your room until you have given me your permission. So may I please come in? You won't even give me a response? Alright. Considering how you must feel about me, I shouldn't be surprised. Fine then, you don't have to let me in. But please, at least hear me out. Do you remember the day shortly after we first met? When we went on our honeymoon? If you can even call the little walk we took a honeymoon. I was unable to do anything nice for you then either. I had no experience, no idea how to interact with an upper-class woman like you. I didn't know what I should do for you. And yes, I know, that makes me sound juvenile. I have a tendency to say things I don't mean the more perturbed I get. I'm sure I said things to hurt you numerous times that day. However, at the photography shop, when you saw the phenakistoscope, you smiled for me. I got it right this time, guys. It's so hard to pronounce that. It's hard to pronounce that word sometimes. I was genuinely pleased in that moment. I felt like I had gotten closer to you. I very much doubt that was actually an appropriate present for a noble woman like yourself. Jewels or flowers or something like that, something beautiful would have certainly suited you better. And I knew that, but I assumed you would have been given gifts like that countless times in the past. You are, after all, a beautiful woman. I did not want to have to compete on the same field as those other men. I wanted to be special. No, I wanted to be unique to you. No one had ever shown you anything of the sort before, had they? Frankly, I wasn't sure if a woman of your status would take any interest in a Oh, I messed up already. Fanakistoscope at all. I imagine you've thrown it out by now, but I choose to believe you sincerely liked it on that day. That if just for a moment I caught your eye, even if you started seeing other men afterwards, that moment was real, wasn't it? Our marriage was, at its core, nothing but an arrangement between our parents, an exchange of money and influence. That was how it began, but that day, I loved you. I yearned to see you smile, and if I had loved you in my entire life... The Pacific Railroad has finally been completed. That's the project I've been funding. Oh, he came when it was done. Oh, bad move, bro. Everyone thought it was crazy, but our railroad now stretches across the breadth of this country. A joining ceremony will be held tomorrow. It's going to be a grand event. Locally, they are planning on doing a gun salute. And the sound of the last spike being driven into the ground will be transmitted across the country via telegraph. I had procured a telegraph, so we can listen to it here in the mansion. In your condition, you would probably have trouble handling the crowds at the telegraph station, but here, you could celebrate in the comfort of your own home. I suppose what I'm saying is, I want to celebrate this with you. I have made arrangements to make that possible for you because I wish to have you there with me. Would you be willing, tomorrow, to celebrate the completion of the Pacific Railroad with me? Would you be there at my side? Please, say something. I want to start over. I know very well what I've done to you. You may be at fault yourself, but what I did is unacceptable. But what I did was a consequence of my overpowering love for you. I swear it. Why? Why will you not answer me? Say something. Anything. Please. Please. You can hear me in there, can't you? If you don't want to, you can just say no. If you do reject me, I'll set you free. I won't hurt you. I promise. The door? It's not locked? Who opened it? Hello? A humid spring breeze brushed against his cheeks. The drawn lace curtains appeared to glow in the gentle moonlight. The white-haired girl was not in her room. Where have you gone? Stupefied, he glanced about his wife's chambers. To my eyes, the neatly organized room appeared no different than any other day. But to his eyes, it was pale and hollow. For the one who was supposed to be there, who was supposed to be waiting for him, was not present. He could not hear her voice from anywhere in the shed. In its place echoed a dry rustling. A sad, pitiful, empty whisper of a noise. It came from the lone object left abandoned atop her desk. The Fanakistoscope. It was the one present Jacopo had ever given the white-haired girl, a toy made of paper. When spun and viewed in a mirror, it created the illusion of a man and woman dancing. You still had this? That's ridiculous. I assume you had thrown it out. The white-haired girl had evidently made considerable use of the Fanakistoscope. I swear. That word, man. I get it sometimes, and other times I don't. The paper was visibly worn and tattered, warped in places, and had even begun to yellow. It spun slowly in the wind, rustling and rustling and rustling, spinning in an endless reminder of that day, the year before, though there was no longer anyone around to look through it. Why? But you were with other men. Why would you keep something I gave you? It's so worn. Why? A letter? Beneath the ever-rotating Fanakistoscope lay a single sheet of paper. As if drawn to it, he scanned the contents of the parchment. It was a letter addressed to Caro mio Jacopo. The salutation written in his native language translated as follows. My beloved Jacopo. Did the fruits of your dream turn out as you had hoped? I am sure it was wonderful and impressively fast. A train that can travel across a continent as large as this is like something out of a story. I wish I could have been there to see it. I'm sure it would have been quite pleasant, like the day you gave me the Fenakis wheel. Am I being presumptuous? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I would keep waiting for you forever, no matter how much you hated or ignored me. But I made up my mind, so I'm sorry. I decided I would wait for you until the railroad was completed. I foolishly thought that you might invite me to the opening ceremony, but it seems I am not good enough for you. I'm going to take my leave of your house, so you need to concern yourself with me any longer. However, I do have one request. Please do not forget about all the letters I wrote. Think back on them from time to time. Do not burn them all, for they contain my thoughts, my feelings, my words, a record of my love for you. Remember, when you can, that I was always watching you. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble writing. My ears are ringing. There's a voice whispering to me, calling me a witch. Maybe it's your voice. My vision is blur. I'm not even sure what is going through my mind. I'm sorry. This was all I was able to write for you. I'm truly sorry. I will leave the Fenakis wheel behind. It was my dearest treasure. Farewell. I loved you. May 8, 1869. What the hell is this? He was visibly rattled, and unsurprisingly so. The mention of the Transcontinental Railroad's opening ceremony, the letter she had written, her dearest treasure, her profession of love for him, and above all, the mangled text that appeared to have been written by someone not entirely in their right mind. Everything about it served to amplify his befuddlement. You waited for me? How can that be? The joining ceremony's tomorrow. It hasn't happened yet. Why? Why did you have to leave then? I'm here. I came for you, just as I planned. The ceremony's on the 10th. A second later, Jacopo gasped. The date written on the letter was the day prior, May 8th. Originally, the ceremony was planned to be held on the 8th. However, due to bad weather and labor dispute, it had been postponed for 2 days. This can't be. I made sure you were informed. I had Maria. The madam is having an affair. Maria, no. You couldn't. Scattered fragments of memory began coming together in his mind. Maria was the only one who had informed him of his wife's supposed unfaithfulness. And though the letters had not been addressed to him, thinking back on it, they had all been about him. In one letter, she had mentioned treasuring a gift. Jacopo had assumed it meant a gift from another man. But in fact, she had been referring to the phenakistoscope sitting atop her desk, still spinning in the wind. At long last, he finally made that connection. And at the same time, he realized that the only person who could have altered the letters was someone they both trusted, Maria. Never. She never even once betrayed me. She was not unfaithful at all. She waited unwaveringly for me. And I refused to believe her. I caused her pain again and again. But his realizations came far too late. The white-haired girl's spirit had broken, and she was no longer at the mansion. Had he caught on to Maria's machinations sooner, things would not have turned out as they had. But he was much too late. Maria, why? Why would you do this? Clutching the letter from his wife, Jacopo stormed out of the shed in search of Maria. Alright, so finally we'll probably learn why Maria was doing all this crap to begin with. But she was not in the room assigned to her. Where are you? Where have you gone? Maria! Several maids were roused from their slumber by the racket, but no one had had the courage to speak up as the master of the house frantically charged through the halls. Eventually, he arrived at his own chamber. He was certain he had closed the door before leaving, but now a sliver of light shone through the gap between it and the frame. From within the room, he thought he could sense someone's presence. When he opened the door, there he saw comfortably perched upon his own chair A woman. I've been waiting, Jacopo. Oh, that's a wicked look. Nice room you got here. Though I guess that's only natural, you being the man of the house and all. All these fancy furnishings. You do know this stuff's too good for you, right? And then me, I get that barren little maid's room. Drives me up the wall. So hey, Jacopo. Clear the air with your little lady yet? Maria! I love that look on your face. I'm guessing you didn't make things better then. You know good and well that she's not even here anymore. Well, yeah, but I still want to hear you say it, you know? I want to hear from your own mouth that you couldn't keep a leash on your woman, so you locked her up, drove her mad, broke her down, and then she ran away from you. Go on, say something. Climb back on your high horse and start shouting like you always do. Why, Maria? Why would you do this? Why? Why do you think? Because I despise you. I've been trying to figure out how I wanted to end things, but then they just fell apart on their own. The fates are smiling down upon me, I guess. Nonsense! She was waiting for me until the day of the joining ceremony, and I was going to see her on that day. You knew the ceremony had been postponed. That's what you get for putting it all in my hands, for thinking I'm the only one on your side. What, did you think I'd just tell her like a good little maid? Not a chance in hell. I mean, talk about some fantastic news. You both picked the same day, but you've got the dates different. Absolutely perfect. Maria, is that how you've always felt? How long? Have you held this grudge against me? How long? How long? How goddamn dense can you be? Must be nice living in your little fantasy world, Jacopo. And this is the next Capofamilia? Oh my god, my sides. So you've always hated me? At the very least. I've loathed you since the minute we had our reunion. At first I did try to convince myself you had your reasons. Didn't make you feel any less unfair though. You had all your money and all your power and everything else you stole from me. And then you go and get hitched to this pretty little lady? Oh, don't try to act like you're the victim here. This is all on you. Do you have any idea how I felt? Falling from grace made your goddamn maid, having to suck up to you? Do you have any idea how infuriating that was? Or did you think I didn't know anything? Did you think I didn't suspect anything? If you did, then you've got your head way up in the clouds. So you are motivated by your grudge against my family, the Berzatis? Precisely, that's exactly it. Your father wanted so badly to be the Capofamilia, wanted so badly to be in power, that he murdered my dad and grandpa. They say it was a carriage accident, but the ground was all torn to hell where it happened. You want to tell me what kind of carriage accident caused it to explode? As soon as my dad and grandpa died, your dad took over as the Capofamilia. The balance of power in the factions began to change. My family and anyone with ties to the Campanellas was either exterminated or exiled. The Berzatis took control of the city. My grandpa's Cosca became your Cosca. No one in their right mind would be naive enough to think the Berzatis didn't have a hand in that. The great Campanella family bitten by their pet dog, except the dog had rabies. And as a result, in time, that lush historic land will wither away and die. My dad and grandpa buried in that dried up earth and are screaming in their graves even now. You can't prove me wrong, can you, Jacopo? And now, first in line to be the next Capofamilia is you, his son. Naturally. Feels pretty good, don't it? Slaughtering my family, leaving us to wallow in the mud. While you live here like a king. Because of what your family did, I don't have a home to go back to anymore. No house, no prestige, I have nothing left. And that's goddamn outrageous. The Campanellas are supposed to run that city, but instead, you filthy Berzati curs are crawling over it like some kind of infestation. I am a legitimate Campanella, but I'm stuck being your goddamn maid. If I hadn't been born a woman, I could have become the Capofamilia after my dad and grandpa died. But because I'm a woman, I couldn't retaliate. I just sit on my hands and watch the tragedy unfold. It was absolutely miserable. So I had to make you suffer as well. I had to make you I had to make you twice as miserable as I was. You had no reason to hate anyone but me. Why did you make her a part of this? Did you have some grudge against her too? Not particularly. I actually rather like the madam. Sweet, pretty, kind-hearted, timid, and fragile. Trusted every word I said. A splendid little toy. You thought of her as your toy? Now, can you really call me out for that? You can't. You have no right. You never cared one bit about anyone else. They're all footstools to you. It's a little too late to find yourself a sense of morality. This whole thing, it could have been avoided if you two just had a single conversation. But instead, the both of you come crawling to me saying you're my only ally, Maria. How dense can you be? Of course, I thought you were my ally. I trusted you, as I'm sure she did too. Then you should get your eyes examined because you can't see a damn thing. Maria! My god, it was beautiful. The way you two blindly trusted me, creating your own misunderstandings and causing your own pain, how you could never seem to get on the same page, watching it all fall apart. Maria, is that everything? The extent of your grudge and all you did? Yep, that's everything. All that's left is for me to kill you. Oh. Hold still now, I wouldn't want to miss. Maria, you... Does our past mean nothing to you? Was that oath just an empty promise? How could it when you remember so clearly? Fine, I'll explain it for our little romantic boy. Bad grown-ups will even take advantage of good memories. It's time I finally returned this to you, Jacopo. That carriage you gave me packed with your disgusting sentimentality. Oh, sorry, not carriage, cartridge. Nah, gah. Killing you ain't the end, though. All you Berzati curs. I'll send every last one of you straight to hell. My revenge has just begun. Oh, that's just menacing. Even if you had been a man, you wouldn't have been a suitable capo familia. You should have aimed between my eyes, Maria. Jacopo. Oh. Oh. Well, there you go. Why? Why? I wasn't expecting that. I honestly thought Jacopo was gonna die. In a panic, I pulled the trigger, and from the barrel, a bullet went flying. Quite literally, right between her eyes. Would anyone ever believe me? If I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? The rain just keeps on coming. Wonder if we'll be able to go home today. Hey, Jacopino! Say something, you little wuss! Don't shout! You're gonna give me a headache. The lightning's way louder than me. Ah! You jumped, Jacopino. You're such a baby. You jumped too, and stop calling me that. Don't be scared. Don't cry. I am not crying. Your eyes are damp too. I'm not crying. Not at all. Not one bit. Liar. There's no end to this rain, is there? I'm fine if it doesn't stop. There's nothing at home for me. You don't want to go home? Your parents don't get along, huh? That's got nothing to do with it. Liar. You've got it good. Everyone loves your grandpa. Whenever anyone needs something, they come to him. Now there's a great man. Huh? How did my grandpa become a part of this? Oh, no reason. Not everyone likes him. He gets just as much hate as love. Grandpa's not really a model citizen. He's mostly just shrewd. Are you jealous? I'm not. My old man's though. Huh, is he now? Well, your dad's got his good points too, I think. Like, I don't know, he seems like the kind of man who can accomplish big things. Though he seems a lot stricter than my grandpa. Oh, come on. I don't get you. What are you climbing up for? No reason. If you don't want to go home, then how about we go somewhere far away from here? Huh? Once it stops raining, let's get out of here. Head up to the capital, find some work. We could make it work, the two of us. Oh, and we'll bring Nero, of course. If we could. That would be nice. Break free of this city and its outdated traditions. Head somewhere bigger, more forward-thinking? If only it were possible. It's alright, Maria. I know you're just joking. We wouldn't be able to find work anyway. If the two of us ran off, we'd be starving in a month. You'd have to be blind not to see that. Right. Let's go home once the rain lets up. Yeah, once it does. But until then, I know. Let's sing. Sing even louder than the lightning? Then maybe you'll stop crying, Jacopino. I am not crying. Come on, let's sing. Maria, I may not put it into words, but I trust you understand that I consider you a dear friend. Listen to me, Jacopo. My actions were justified. I did what I did for the betterment of this city, this land. The Campanellas are too conservative. Under their control, this country will atrophy. Progress will continue to lose steam. If we don't push forward, we'll fall farther and farther behind. Before long, you will be made the next Capo Familia. But until that day, you will cross over to the New World and establish the Cosca there. Unify us. Bolster us. Make us strong. I'll handle things back here. I won't let the Campanellas try and strike back. What? You want Maria to... It's dangerous to keep a Campanella so close by. She has to be taken care of. If you insist. But do not let your guard down. Betrayal is a constant companion in this world. I'm giving you my revolver. Keep it on you at all times. Wow. So, the dad was right. But he's also the reason why this whole betrayal happened in the first place. So... Glory everlasting upon our blood, and upon this earth. The best I can give you is a job as my maid. If I show you any more obviously preferential treatment, the Brazzatis are liable to step in. Money, power, respect, and enough authority to not take orders from anyone. I thought that if I could obtain all that, I'd be able to give you your freedom, and her as well. I wanted to give you both comfortable lives, but none of that got through to either of you. Everything is slipping through my fingers. Her love, my friendship with Maria, both of their smiles. Master! Master! What was that sound? So much blood. Maria! What happened this time? Oh, I missed out on that. You keep getting stuck with witnessing the worst things. What? Call a doctor. Someone with tight lips. Do not call the police. And don't make a scene. Got it? If so, then go on. Yes, sir. Right. Not everything has slipped from my grasp. My money and influence are all that's left. That is what you wanted, though, is it not? You sought money and power, no? Aren't you going to go? Yes, I will. But first, I would like to ask you something. What do you intend to do from here? What am I going to do? Exactly the same as before. There is but one thing for me to do. I see. Will you eventually find solace in your riches? The way I see it, money and power can be your ally, but they can become your enemy in the blink of an eye. If you do not put them into words, your feelings will never make it through to anyone. For unlike money, humans are not measurable by their appearance. He failed to communicate to anyone what he held within his breast. He was chained down by his place in society, his pride, his relationships, and his own heart. And at some point, he found himself in a position where he was no longer able to speak his mind. After enough time, he likely forgot how to be genuine at all. Or perhaps someone like him simply would not, even if they knew how. In any event, there are many things in this world that cannot be communicated without being put into words. How said that his tale should end without him expressing how he truly felt. How hard it must have been to never clear up his misunderstandings. After Jacopo's confrontation with Maria, the Pacific Railroad was completed as scheduled. Celebratory cheers shook the new world as the last spike was driven into the rails. Jacopo, however, could not even manage a smile listening to the telegraph, and I am sure you can take a guess as to why. The people with whom he wished to share that moment were not there. Shortly following her death, Jacopo held a private funeral for Maria. Then, he commenced a search for the white-haired girl. But he did not do so alone. He hired others to help, did everything in his power to find her, tirelessly searching for many, many years. However, he never was able to locate her, and he spent the remainder of his life alone. Money, power, renown, servants. The world around him was always quite lively, but solitude was his only companion. He waited and he waited and he waited for the white-haired girl to return. The years crawled by, and with no family or loved ones at his side to care for him in old age, he died alone. Alright, looks like that's the end of this Door's story, guys. So I'm going to end it here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're going to continue onwards with this story.